Okay, welcome to the World Class Battle League, Season 2, Week 1, Power Rankings. I am one of your co-hosts, CB, and as always with me is Nada. Say hi, Nada.
Oh, hi.
Let's get into the Power Rankings then. Starting off with your number 16 and my number 16 is the BC Cavalians. Not much to say on this because they have yet to have their game against the Charlotte Celestials. So moving on to your number 15. I just kept them where they are at number 9 because I didn't have a game to work with. They did not play their game. So moving on to your number 14th, my number 14th, the Hartford Hoopas, coached by Spectrum.
Yeah. Do you want to start off?
Okay. Spectrum was doing good in his match against Z until Z got in his Manaphy and started breaking down walls. And I felt like Spectrum played on tilt after that, and he made unnecessary switch-ins and did not have a backup plan for that Garchomp sweet scarfed in the back. So that's why I dropped him down to 14th.
All right. Looking at it, I think his prep could have been a lot better because I don't it's probably an opinion of mine. I don't see what Perugly does in the game, and he ended up stacking it.
It is probably because Z had a Shuckle, which could have set up webs, and then it could have gotten the Defiant boost.
Alright.
And Z also had Tauros, which had Intimidate, which also could have given it the boost.
Alright, well, firstly, didn't come in. I would want to think something like Tornadus or even Starmie might have been better in that spot, just because like Tornadus could have used the rain, and it could have had more like sway on the things like Crest and Whimsicott with taunt. It just it has more than just one use, and it also has U-turn. So just because I would have liked to see what Perugly did, except we'll never know, I guess.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I will praise him for bringing Skuntank. It obviously has a good matchup and pretty much countered Whimsicott pretty well. It also crit
the Cresselia
a few times. Yeah, that was unfortunate for Z, but it acted as a good way to force out Cress. I would imagine that not getting swept by Cresselia would be really demoralizing. What do you remember about the game? Because I'm trying to remember the plays that he could have made.
I remember near the end he hard switched into his Gorgeist, which took one Earthquake from it, but then it died after that to another Earthquake. He probably could have switched in some other mod before that, sacking it, and then bring in the Gorgeist.
Yeah, I wished, I also wished he had Tornadus so that Garchomp couldn't do this to his team because he's pretty ground weak, and apparently no Magnet Rise on Klefki, so...
I thought I heard that he did bring Magnet Rise on the Klefki.
Wow! Oh! And he never... Okay. I didn't see it.
I think Klefki was out of the picture by then.
It was. I'm pretty sure it died to...
the Manaphy, yeah. So Spectrum just kept on sending in his counters to the Garchomp to counter Manaphy, and they got weakened.
Yeah, just I guess pretty clever of Z, especially. Well, I'd say that the Gorgeist, especially when it almost acted as a check, except if I'm assuming it was Yachi, and Z predicted it with Shadow Ball. That was pretty unfortunate for Spectrum because it meant less chances of living Earthquakes, essentially. That sort of how it went down.
Yep. So moving on to number 13 then. which we both agree on, is Zone and the Hamilton Torcats.
Mm-hmm.
I kept Zone at 13 this week, even though he did go -3, is because at the beginning of the game, he just had really poor luck missing a stone edge and his opponent landing a 2 focus blasts on him, which put him in a tough spot that he had a hard time coming back from.
Yeah, that set the mood for the whole match, I think. Or just like hurt his morale or something that you can notice when as soon as you have a little bit of luck, then it becomes easier for people like Ark to make safe plays.
Yeah.
Otherwise I think he could have potentially won out if he had like coverage for Gardevoir, I suppose.
Yeah,
on
that,
his
yeah, with the poison jab.
Yeah, that would have been, or like, yeah, for Tangrowth too, because that would have meant, because after Thundurus, I'm not sure much about speeding it, and then there's also Scarf Roserade that had to go. Also, what else? I'm trying to like imagine like the Z move that he used. I think that it was interesting. I'm not sure if he was like either predicting the Gardevoir to stand because Tangrowth switched out on the mirror move, right? The Z mirror move. And if it was something like, I'm not going to say aerial, something like a non-recoil move to take advantage of that would be great. But it's obviously he wasn't thinking that he would
die.
Take a hit. Yeah, if he didn't take any damage, I suppose like Celesteela would be the one to take a lot more damage because +2 Staraptor seems pretty scary. But I'm sort of like going to rag on him for sacking Magmortar so early because
it was his one counter to Celesteela, basically.
Yeah, and it was a great Tangrowth check as well because that was hurt. I wouldn't say it actually stopped Medicham all that well, but it took a hit and then regenerated the health. So, like, much bulky. There was nothing bulky enough, I think, to take like even an uninvested Fire Blast. I think pretty bulky for the first 2 turns. It took the Thundurus hits and then it died.
Yep.
Oh, I wasn't a fan of that. I'm not on the Gardevoir set that was brought. I'm not gonna like really pass harsh judgment because I'm not sure predicting a defensive Gardevoir as a counter to Medicham.
I would have used it.
Well,
I've used that in a different league before. I'm like, that's probably going to be defensive when I saw it.
Well, okay. I personally would think that you should, like, if you're gonna have a Psychic and Fighting Mon, you should have Fairy coverage. I think he had Rock Slide and something else.
That wasn't Ice Punch, maybe. I think
it might have been Ice Punch, but okay, with Rock Slide that doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah.
But I can see it for Claydol.
Claydol and Tangrowth hit.
Yes, and Thundurus. So I guess that covers them.
But then why the Rock Slide for Thundurus is the real question.
Yeah, let me see what else.
It was probably there for Chandelure, but
yeah,
he had other ways of dealing with Chandelure.
I guess Crustle, and that's like sort of an in case. But I think like it wasn't like the
Poison Jab would have been better.
Yeah, but the fact that the Gardevoir worked so well, like it was in direct result, but I don't think he was at fault for not like predicting a defensive Gardevoir. I think because I wouldn't have, me personally, I would not have predicted that.
You doubted Gardevoir last time around.
I did. So I like being proven wrong in these. So I like this is nice to see. You can make fun of me too. I have nothing else to say.
Okay, I have nothing left to say on Zone's battle. Next up is number 12 for you, is my team, and I put myself at 15th because I'm a Debbie
Okay.
Downer.
I personally think a bad performance is better than no performance, really.
I guess.
So, yeah, it's a thing. Do you want to start?
I moved myself down 3 positions just because I'm harsh on myself. I was going strong. I had the advantage like in the beginning, and then it slowly turned over to a guy.
Yes. Let me see that match with me. Oh,
it all turned around when he flinched me.
Yes. Because I assume you'd have poison jab / shot to kill it, right?
I had poison jab. It didn't kill from that range, but I was a max defense, max HP move for that Weavile, and I could have easily just soft boiled off and let him kill himself with the life orb damage after the poison jab on my move.
All right. Yeah, that flinch really turned because you had your one check that like Escapulator just baits in 3 other mons. It's not. I wouldn't say there's like a proper way to bring it in and have it do its job. So Weavile was a huge problem.
Yeah.
Like bringing something like Primarina could have.
I was expecting him to bring a Z move, Poisonium Z on his Weavile for that. I'm like, mispredicted.
I think. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to like. I'm pretty sure the Kevia set beats any Weavile.
It does.
So, but I understand why you wouldn't, because it gets handled by. Well, it does like deal with Embor, deals somewhat with Slowbro, but
yeah.
I'm okay. I had one other like take because I was expecting Flygon to have Yachi after all the setup. It was so exciting, and it just I was a little sad.
I was just in range for that ice shard though. That sucker punch put me just in range where it guaranteed killed me. I was running some defense on HP on it to take a hit from ice, or 50% from ice shard at max.
That is extremely. Oh, and I guess you didn't have Roost, but you wouldn't have wanted to run the screens out, so I'm not sure Roost would have been a good move. There's nothing to.
Just trying to keep up the screens and hopefully take him out. Expecting to take me out, but getting the surprise on him with a defensive set.
I guess I don't have much else to say. You have any other criticisms?
Not expecting Trick Jirachi with that scarf on fleek.
Yeah, that was a very interesting move.
I'm like, why do you bring it in? What can it do to me? And like, it only ground move is HP ground. I'm like, pretty sure I can take any hit and take it out.
Psych. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a, like you were, what's the word? Tricked into thinking you were safe.
Yeah.
And then you got his rocks, which helped.
I forgot defog.
What happened after? And then like, I'll talk about how that transitioned to the Leafeon, because I think that was like somewhat clever of him. I mean, knockoff is pretty potent, but AV is just so much better. AV would have been great if you had it, if you kept it.
Yeah.
All right, you want to move on?
Sure. Your number 11 and my number 10, Chu, coach of the Vancouver 15s.
Yeah.
Which I dropped 3 places.
Yeah, I dropped pretty. Because now it's mostly about like how these teams work. His team just looked pretty good to me, and now I'm like examining how he built, especially because he had a team builder.
I dropped him low because right off the bat, he is put into a poor situation, and the only reason he stood a chance is because he got that freeze on the Mega Venusaur.
Oh yeah, that was pretty huge.
That kept him in the game, and then later on he sacks Como-O instead of like Deoxys defense, which wasn't really doing much that late in the game.
No, it was being outsped. I think he actually could have still saved it if he was going to like keep Miansha from, like he could have even sacked Jolteon instead, or like there was a play. I need to review it. It's where he has Miansha that kills the Como-O with Poison Jab.
Yeah.
I think he agrees if he went to Gengar there and saved it, that he wasn't going to be dying. Like, he could keep all his Mon, and he wouldn't have died to a high jump kick because Como-O can't die to knockoff like all the ones can.
And if it did go into knockoff, he knew it was scarfed, right? So he could have gone back into Como-O and easily take that knockoff.
Yeah, essentially. I don't know what to think about his Aromatisse set. Firstly, I think, like, even if the trick wasn't obvious, I would have gone into DOD to take any Latias set, but it made his set completely null and void because the Scarf Calm Mind isn't doing anything, sort of allowed Antoine to stall out the Aromatisse with his Latias, which was not, because Aromatisse would have been great for Mienshao again, because it was easily Antoine's biggest.
It was tricked as Scarf though, so it was pretty hindered after that Scarf trick as well.
Yeah.
That all for you? I have nothing left to say.
I don't. Well, okay. I will probably just say I think I don't like the expert belt on Jolteon. I think Scarf would have been weird, but it would have been better because expert belt wasn't hitting much on Antoine's team, and
but it let him change up moves, which I think is what he was really trying to go for, since Antoine does have that Mega Venusaur. He might not want to be forced to hard switch out after clicking Thunderbolt.
Oh, of course. I'm just trying to think because Antoine's Scarfers are a little more potent than Como-O, which is relatively slow.
Also, I'm surprised Chu didn't bring Entei in this match. I know Antoine has Heatran, but once he got rid of Heatran, Entei did a whole lot of damage to Antoine's team.
And if it wasn't a choice, it would have just required a bulldoze, honestly.
Yeah.
So, I sort of agree with you there. I don't know. It could have, like, stopped Miansha after, like, a hit. But I don't have anything else to say.
Neither do I. So moving on to your number 10, my number 7, which I moved down 1. You want to start this one off?
Yeah, I think that the game that was played was pretty good. I enjoyed it, but I didn't like having to review it like a few times because it was so long. I think most of the plays that are made were sort of safe, but I would say, like, he really could have saved the game because I don't really see the need for lefties on the Magearna when he was already passing wishes with Alamomola. So, like, a resist berry of like either Akar or Shuka would have, I think it would have allowed him to either take out Landorus or Blaziken, and that would have been great to allow him to break more of the team, I think. Otherwise, like, plays seem pretty standard. Like, the game, like, it's just a bit of like breaking and chipping until there's holes, and then I think most of the mons died at the end. So I don't know. I'm not really too sure what done earlier.
I didn't really move him down, like you said. That was a really close game, and if you do lose, going 0-0 in a loss is pretty good. Can't really fault them for that playing the way he played. He kept it really close, and I believe it was a Scarf Blaziken that his opponent brought that just slightly tipped him to losing. So
yeah. I'm trying to remember near the end because, like, I assumed his Alakazam was Sash, but I realized, like, I think this is turn 62 that I'm referring to, where the Miltank is toxic and the Alakazam was, like, behind the sub before. I think if he kept subbing, well, if he subbed twice on the Miltank, then I'm going to have to review the health. Because Miltank was at 24%. So 2 turns. Nope, never mind. I'm trying to, like, imagine a way that he could have gotten Blaziken out of the way, but I think after Aloe went down, that was pretty difficult for him.
I guess. I don't really have much to say on this match. It's just too close.
Yeah, I agree. And does that mean we're going to move on
Sure.
to the opponent? Yeah.
So you're number 9, my number 6, which is one above. The last person was the winner of that game of going 0-0.
Yep. Or do you have much to say?
No, we basically just covered it, so.
Okay, I'm gonna say that I liked Combine Landorus for the ground weaknesses present because it handled them. But I think something like Vaporeon might have been better than Megazord in order to take, like, heal status and pass wishes like Alamomola. Like, basically be a better Alamomola. Yes. Alamomola, yeah.
I did help team build with him for this match, so that's kind of hurtful.
I'm sorry. What was your opinion on both of his water types? Because I think water types worked well against, like, 5 of his mons.
I just felt like depending on what I thought that his opponent was going to bring, I'm like, water really isn't that important in this match, even though it does hit a lot of his mons. We were just really mainly fearing like a Magearna or Terrakion, and with the Def Miltank without a fighting move, Magearna wasn't doing anything, and we weren't really expecting leftovers, like you said. Why bring leftovers on a Magearna?
Yeah, it seems kind of.
He could easily have played around with the defensive sets he had with his Wallen, Reuniclus, and Miltank.
Yeah, those pair really well. Well, I mean, this is all obviously a bit of a hindsight thing.
Yeah.
But I think Toxic Spikes from Tentacruel even would have been decent, but they would only hit 3 of these, so I need to reconsider. We're gonna move on.
Moving on to the top 9 or the top 8.
Top 8. The top half already.
The top half. You're number 8 and my number 11. Dallas Darnings, coached by a guy who was my opponent.
Look, I know we are not supposed to skip. My number 7 is a guy.
You have him at number 8 on this slide.
Wow. Now I feel bad.
Chu messed up. If you did have him above.
Oh, no, that was me. That was my fault.
Your fault, not Chu's.
Nope.
You should have just blamed Chu.
Okay. I have too much of a heart. Also, there's physical evidence that it's my fault. I can't cover my trail.
Okay, so why you have him at number 8? Because he beat me? Because I'm such a good battler? Thanks.
No. What's it called? I think that he had to just whittle things and then have that flinch. I didn't put him at 7. I was debating it, but the flinch like really made it so much easier for him because you had one check to Weavile.
I had quite a few offensive checks, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's like, when are you switching that in? You had to sack. I think it was it 2 Pokemon or the Mew? The Mew basically died because you couldn't kill it with the Flygon. So
that flinch really mattered. Just saying. I would have been in a way better spot with my Mew basically at full. Instead of dying to rocks.
Okay.
That's why I kept him low, because he won because of a flinch and a few misplays on my part after that flinch.
Alright, I'm going to draw attention to a play. I wouldn't say it's a play, but more like a series of plays he made in the beginning to baton pass with the Leafeon, because I didn't think he'd be using that set so early. I didn't think he'd even be using Leafeon so early in the season because
it had a poor matchup in my game. Almost all my mons had coverage to take it out, basically.
Yeah, because grass is a terrible defensive typing. But the tricking the scarf for that sub, like, I guess it was a bit of a roundabout way into just having a free switch, but it worked out, and I think that just because Leafeon's physical defense is notable, that it was almost clever.
Almost clever.
Yeah, it was extremely convenient for him.
I did move him up 3 spaces, just so you know. It's not like I'm purposely keeping him low because he was my opponent.
Okay, look, I just looked.
No one moved up more than 3, just saying.
Wow, well, I can't say the same for me, because
you did it basically on who won and who lost.
Yeah, well, it's more because I want to see how the players use the teams, because before it was more strictly on team synergy. Let's not fucking get into it.
Okay.
We still have more to go through. I had another note. I think Slowbro didn't do anything, and I would have imagined that Dugtrio would have been great for your for avenging and such, and especially for the mug. But I also understand why I didn't, because I guess it's hard to use. And
it's predictable when it's coming in. It's like there.
Oh yeah. Yep, that really would be the only thing I'd see in prep. That because he loves Slowbro, obviously, from his previous record, but it didn't match up against 3-4 of your mons. It didn't have a good matchup against your team, so that's my only criticism.
It did put my Escavalier right in range for that heat wave, though, from the Mega Pidgeot.
Oh, secret genius! I need to take that back.
I think that was just pure coincidence.
Yeah, well, it's a Mega Pidge heat wave, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have to be timid. Nope, just kidding.
I was AV Escavalier, just so you know.
Wow.
It did not kill me from full.
Like if you cry every time.
Yep. So we should probably move on off of this.
Yep. All right.
So you're number 7. My number 5 is the Virginia Voltorb, coached by Arc. I actually moved him down 1, but that's just because my 4 above him, I still think overall in the season they're going to be doing better.
Oh, well, that's pretty. I don't know where I am, by the way, so this is going to be a surprise for me when I figure out where I am.
I have you first.
Wow, I don't. Surprise! Okay. I think the first two turns really set his mood. I'm also a little sad that we only got to see Ash Ninja like get revealed, and then he just didn't use it after because he didn't ever need to. Just a little disappointing.
Yeah, that's also why I don't have him higher than the 4 above, even though 2 of them lost. I just felt like his match was easy once Zone missed that first Stone Edge, and there wasn't really much to say about it.
Yeah, though I'm pretty sure like the Spadef investment in that Gardevoir helped with forcing the Rose raid out because it was Scarf. I just think that that set was pretty neat. Hold on.
Moving on.
Yeah, I have much to say.
Not much to say on this.
No, it's sort of simple.
Okay, so should we move on then to your number 6 and I believe my number 12 in Stella City Crystalias, coached by Z.
Yep. I think the game that he had with Spectrum was sort of similar to Arcs, just in the sense that he needed to break a few things, and by that I mean Gorgeist to sweep, and it ended up being, well, I would say the crits were unfortunate. I did like the Shadow Ball over Ice Beam sort of thing on Manaphy so that he could actually weaken the Gorgeist. And I do believe the Mantine was supposed to live a Thunderbolts, but with 40% health, but the crit actually, like the crit from Skuntank actually
Put it in
hurt him. Yes, which was pretty sad to see. But it was good to keep around anyway, to keep Manectric from not spamming HP Ice. I won't spoil his Toro set because that didn't see the field either.
Oh, so you know his set?
Yeah, I helped him team build.
Okay. Can you tell me afterwards?
Sure.
Okay.
The viewers will probably not know, or I'll post it in the comments in a few weeks, if I even feel the need to.
Okay. The reason why I only have him down at 12, even though he did go 3-0, is because I started him off low because I don't like his team, personally. It's a personal vendetta. It's always the same mons he always drafts.
All right. I can say that for like 5 of his mons. No, 4 of his mons, being the Crest Whimsicott, Tauros, Garge. No.
Umbreon. He drafts Umbreon a lot.
Yeah, not enough leagues to confirm it, but I don't do that sort of thing. I think like since it fits him, I'm not gonna rag on the fat team that he has. Sort of like what I did with the Alamamola on Justin's team. Even though I don't like it, I had other reasons.
I also have other reasons. In like the first few turns of the game, Z was just kept on switching mons around and taking unneeded damage.
Okay.
And I felt like,
oh, you mean
like for the first few turns, Z didn't even click an attack move. He just switched his mons around and kept on taking damage, which was not very helpful. But he still somehow managed to win.
I'm going to say I don't like. I know he had a plan with Crest, but he shouldn't have even brought it in with the Skuntank still alive because it easily counters both Crest and Whimsicott, and there was a problem since he was probably going to use them if stuff like Volcarona and Manectric were having issues with him. So I mean, otherwise it was pretty simple. I don't have anything else to say.
I don't really have anything else to say. So moving on to your number 5, my number 4, the Wolverhampton Weeviles, coached by JS.
Yep.
I'll start this one off.
Yeah?
His match was against Teeny, so a repeat of the finals match of last season. Not always a good thing to face the person you just lost to.
Mm.
Where do I have this notes? I had some notes on this
Yeah,
match somewhere.
That's very interesting.
I misplaced my notes on this match.
Oh, well.
You start off, and I'll watch the video again.
Okay, that sounds good. Though I don't have too many notes, I think there's just like a few, and I won't call them misplaced. Like a few events that like led to the Salamence sweep at the end. Firstly, I think Bulky Crook was good on JS's team for Victini because it handled the physical Victini well. But I don't think he had many because I think he was expecting something either like a mixed or a special Victini because I think it just worked to JS's team. But I don't like because he sacked Regirock, right? I think he had Arcanine instead, and this is not exactly a prep issue. It might just be a hindsight issue because defensively he doesn't have much for Mega Diancie. If he had like a Shuka Arcanine or something, I think he would have been able to like either tank a Diancie hit or a Salamence hit, and that would probably save him in the long run. Also because the double Intimidate would probably be useful for Salamence, Throw, Victini, etc.
Yeah. Okay, I'm watching the video. I sort of remember what happened now.
All right.
I dropped him by 2, mostly because he still has one of the most threatening teams in the game.
Yeah.
And his match against Teeny, who expects 2 dragons to be brought?
Not me.
I don't expect 2 dragons to be brought. So maybe he wasn't expecting maybe either the Goodra or only one of those dragons to be coming. Can't really fault someone for not expecting 2 dragons, especially when you have that Tapu Koko and a
Black.
Kieran Black.
Yeah, especially. I wouldn't. It was more like a bold move on Victini's part.
And it paid off, so.
Oh yeah, was a Lucario scarfed? I'm gonna because it didn't kill the Goodra, so that's gonna be what I'm imagining.
Let's see.
So
he brings it in.
And then he doesn't kill the Goodra.
Yeah. Doesn't kill the Goodra. So I'm assuming it was probably scarfed to take on maybe a Dragon Dance Salamence.
Okay.
Or maybe the Scarf 15.
Yeah, I suppose after V-Create that would be a smart switch in because it baits him to stay in. There was a play near the end where Victini had Throw, which I was excited to see. That's why I'm pretty I put him up. Yeah, I did. I liked the sets he brought this time. I need to skip to the actual turn of events. It was when he switched out Kieran Black, sacked Blastoise, and switched back into Kieran after a sub was broken from Throw, which I think just wasted a sack. And in the long run, that probably would have hurt him to have like more sacks to Salamence, or it would have just given more kills to Salamence either way. But yeah, I think immediate damage because I said before Throw's relatively bulky in PU, but it has some base 100 bulk, I believe, but not physical defense. It's special defense, which is why I don't agree with him going into Blastoise when we had fusion bolts and such to hit the Throw harder. And the Kyurem ended up dying anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on then.
Sure.
Your number 4, my number 1, the Stockton Heatrans, which is coached by you. You didn't even move yourself above the person you beat. What are you doing, Nada?
Look, it's an ego issue of mine. And I also think the crit Shadow Ball that did happen greatly impacted. I'm not going to say that it completely changed the course because I had a 30% chance to kill the Zygarde, right?
I think so. I think I calced it though, actually, and the crit Shadow Ball didn't actually matter. Or maybe that was a different game.
Oh, no, it had a chance to matter because
Yeah.
regardless, what I want to do is click quick attack because Matt didn't have extreme speed, which is pretty interesting. And by that, I mean, I don't agree with that. But, like, I'm not gonna. I moved myself up, though. I'm gonna give myself some slack because.
Yeah, you did move yourself up a lot.
Yeah. Just give it some time. I think Rotom was my win condition because it was easily outsped Alakazam. And Swallow and Rotom both were probably my only answers to Alakazam, and that was a problem. But I predicted the Snorlax correctly because he was expecting me to be Shuka and for me to predict the Zygarde. So I just killed it with Poison Jab, and I got Rocks up, which was also pretty important because I think even after like that crit, if I didn't crit, he couldn't switch out because he would have died to Rocks, and I just kill him with quick attack anyway. So
yeah,
I like that. Like I'm pretty much focusing on it because the rest of the game, besides another crit that didn't matter as much, was pretty simple.
The psychic off of the Alakazam, I believe it was. Right?
Oh yeah.
That crit. Yeah, I think that too hit KO'd anyway, so.
Did. And I also crit the Crobat with Ice Beam. So it wasn't like an even exchange because it was a 2-hit KO before. But I was clicking Ice Beam because it actually kills Zygarde. And I also think my Infernape set was not smart because I had a means to increase my speed, but I could never hit the Zygarde, and that was pretty dumb. So I had to sack that. And that was like, it was the mon I could probably customize the most out of all of them, and I didn't do a good job of that. But what is it? Nidoqueen died, and then
I'm gonna start praising you. You went 3-0 against one of the best battlers in this league. You gotta give yourself props for that, Nada. Come on. Matt is a hard person to beat.
I'm patting my back right now. Okay.
And catching him off guard with that Rotom instead of the Mega Absol, which would have done almost the same thing. Nice job, Nada.
I was very much considering Absol, but I decided that I'm a coward. So maybe. Do you have anything to say?
Not so much about you, but a bit about Matt later on.
Cool.
Which is actually next. Your number 3 and my number 3. The Washington Red Shells, coached by Matt.
Yeah. So what do you have to say?
Let's see. I thought he more likely should have brought the Rotom Heat. I felt like it did more against your team with like a Volt Switch. In case you did bring that Superior, it could have hit that.
Yeah.
And it could do a lot to your Kyurem and your Infernape, since Infernape isn't the bulkiest of mons, even with a Thunderbolt or a Volt Switch off of that. It probably could have helped him get more momentum into his favor.
Yeah, I can see that. Did you have any other notes? Because I just had a few.
I also thought he should have had Blastoise. I don't really remember why. I think it would have been more bulky, would have been better for defenses than I think Snorlax.
Oh, I see.
I think.
Well, I mean, like that's sort of a
personal player style. I think it's personal player style.
Yeah, I was debating either like Thunderbolts with the special Nidoqueen and just Fire Blast and a physical Nidoqueen, which ended up working out for me. But then again, I was sort of just relying on Rotom, which isn't to say it didn't work out. I just think that since it stopped spin and I was expecting Blastoise, that it would have been great. And also, it would have been easy for my Kyurem to take advantage of Blastoise too. I don't agree with Scarf Zygarde with no extreme speed. Just because I think
Scarf.
I have.
If you're running Scarf, why do you need extreme speed?
Because I have 4 forms of priority that I can hit him with, and 3 that I could have. All right, never mind. 2 that I could have brought, and like 1 which was like quick attack that killed after. If the Rotom couldn't, then the Swallow killed it. The Swallow killed the Alakazam. Could kill the Crobat if I didn't crit with the Tapu Fini. Priority would have been like good against the Swallow because it would guarantee the kill at least. Also, I'm like saying this because he had Thousand Arrows and Earthquake, because Earthquake did more to a Shuka Nidoqueen, which I had a weird set, but it was Pyappa for Alakazam, and I'm like, wow, why would I ever stay in on an Alakazam anyway? So like I can see why he would have Earthquake and Thousand Arrows, but it's like he space for extreme speed, and it would have been better because I was also considering Mach Punch on Infernape 2 just for chip purposes. But you know, I would just think that he would either want to run just Thousand Arrows because I have some Levitator. No, I don't. I have 1 Levitator.
You have Rotom, which is good for, and it can also hit your Swallow.
Yes, which we're both here. So, and honestly, I think Thousand Arrows would have killed my Nidoqueen anyway. That's just him being cheeky, and I'm gonna say no, Matt. I don't agree with that. You should consider my priority. Well, I would say with Comfey it doesn't matter because I'd out prioritize him. I'm gonna bring Comfey one of these days, and I'll show you all.
Comfey needs to put work in one of these games. Just not against me, okay? Don't bring it against me, please.
Oh,
I don't want to be the person that loses to Comfey.
Don't be ashamed. All right.
Moving on.
Fine. I had like 1 comment, one more, I mean.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
The crit again at the end. I wouldn't say it decided the game, but it forced him to make a prediction about the Clefable, even though I didn't know it had Protect. And I also gave it a Spadef drop. I think that him being on tilt there was sort of just like the mindset of like, well, it's almost over. I'm about to lose, so I understand why he basically threw it by staying in with Clefable because Rotom just cleaned up. I don't have anything else to say.
I don't either, so we are moving on to your number 2 and my number 8, Antoine, coach of the Johnson City Jellicents. Yep. I know he played one of the better games, but just for my personal power rankings, how I like to do things, I don't like to move people more than 3 in the first week because it is just the first week. There are some unexpected things, trying to get back into things. And it could have just been a fluke. You never know.
I suppose. But it's not as if I moved him, so the discrepancy doesn't mean much to me.
Yeah, I moved him a lot. You didn't. You had him up there in the first place.
Yup. Do you want to start?
Sure. In this game, Antoine had the advantage right off the bat. He didn't really have to predict much. He did get freezed on his Mega Venusaur, but after that, he still played a really good game, putting on the pressure, and he did bring a nice Cryogonal set with an assault vest, and after he got rid of its remaining threat in the end game, which was Komo-O, it could basically sit in front of the rest of Chu's mons.
Well, you took pretty much all of my points except for 2. If every week he brings Gillespie, I'll probably just point out that he used emergency exit pretty effectively because it's sort of how you're supposed to use the momentum by just taking a hit and leaving. That was pretty good. I like that. And the fact that he used Necrozma a lot, yes, I think surprised me more than anything, almost as much as Teeny surprised me with the 2 dragons. I think those 2, with their double divings, are pretty bold. And
it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see
yeah,
how it works out.
Gyarados. Yeah, just saying that Necrozma and Latias really shouldn't feel safe around a Gengar and a Mega Gyarados. But they beat it with a good Toxic. I think the Toxic on predicting, I don't know if he was predicting anything, but the Toxic on the Gyarados made up for like a freeze. I think it would have been like a differential point or something, but
I think so
it
too.
saved him. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
It's a very exciting game. It's pretty good. Nope, I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, on to our final person. You're number 1, my number 2. The Dallas Omaha Stars, coached by our last season champion, Teeny.
Yep.
I moved him up 2. I had him just below you just because I wanted you in first.
Well, I'm touched the heart right now. I feel valid.
Played a good game. He set himself up for that salmon sweep in the end. And that is nice prep on his work, nice playing on his work.
I'm gonna say I liked the throw. It seemed pretty standard by, I'm gonna say PU standards, even though PU is just barely coming into existence. It did a good job of shuffling JS's team, even though he only used Storm Throw. And killing the Regirock, which I guess is more of a dig on JS, but it really helped him for the Salamence. Like, it just opened the gates. And I also liked physically, I guess it was somewhat physically defensive Goodra for tanking an Ice Punch.
The throw is actually pretty good as well for that Crocodile, since it always gets a crit with that move, with the Intimidate.
Oh, yeah. So it just completely negates it. That's really smart, actually. Yeah. Very interesting. So I guess Intimidate Arcanine wouldn't have mattered, even if he did bring. Wow. Well.
That's why I like throw.
Oh, well, maybe I should look into it. I'm going to comment on the Empoleon because it was his Scald switch-in. I don't see why he had to make it physical, even if he wanted the Aqua Jet. For safety reasons, he literally couldn't switch in Scald because the Goodra was dead already. He's probably expecting Goodra to be the Scald switch-in. But then, I don't know, I just feel like he wasted it, even though it probably wasn't doing too much this game.
Yeah, looking at it, it was really just there for the Crocodile, maybe, and the Regirock. But the Regirock was already gone by the time it first came in, I believe.
Yeah, which, again, is sort of just a dig on JS, because I'm gonna be upset because it just took 2 turns, and that Regirock would have probably stopped Salamence. Maybe. If it had the Shuka, more likely.
Maybe Teeny should have brought Vanny over the Empoleon. I don't know. Was that his only hazard removal?
Besides Salamence, yes.
So it was probably his hazard removal in the game.
Yeah.
Since that was a Dragon Dance Salamence.
Exactly. I'm gonna say that I understand physical, because I'm gonna assume he had Aqua Jet too. For
probably
things like
to get the Coco if it was low.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, I'm gonna say Lucario too, because it's frail enough, like the Life Orb, and Aqua Jet would, because Lucario would most likely use a fighting move, but he doesn't have fighting priority. So it makes sense to have Aqua Jet against it. But I guess I wouldn't know what else, because he doesn't have like a good physically defensive, or just like another remover besides elements. Like I wouldn't see Mamoswine doing much this game when he has a Blastoise and Kyurem, so not too much criticism. It's more like nitpicks.
Just nitpicks. Maybe bring the Rotom Wash as a defensive mon.
Maybe, yeah. I ignored that. Forgive me.
Rotom Wash could wall that Blastoise as well as the Crocodile and the Regirock easily.
Probably.
But that's hindsight.
Sure have problems with them. Yeah, looking at it, he didn't actually have too many problems. He used Crocodile, in fact, set up, so I'm not sure he needed multiple answers for Crook and Blastoise, so I guess that's it.
That's it. That's it for
All
this
right.
week's Power Rankings. We'll catch you next week. Hopefully, we will be back on Tuesday.
Yes.
Schedule.
On schedule.
Okay.
This is my fault. I'm sorry. I was also like hoping that Bryce would be here, or that he would have had his game.
Yeah.
That was wishful thinking.
A little wishful thinking. Hopefully next week he'll have both his games in, and we can get them in their proper rankings. So that is it for us this time. See you next week. Bye. Say bye.